Welcome back to Hardy's Books. For those of you wondering, gosh, Ross looks different when he shaves. You're right, I'm not Ross. My name is Laura. I'm the other half of the Hardy's Books machine. And due to popular demand, one person, I am going to make my own top 5 favourite fantasy books of all time. In fact, top 6. I've just looked at my pile and realised there's 6. We are book sellers, book readers, we are writers, we are crazy internet nerds, I don't know. A few caveats before we dive in. At Hardy's Books, we think that art is a subjective medium. So if I mention a book that you absolutely hate, you can tell me about it in the comments, but why would you? Oh God, it's scream o'clock because it's nearly the cat's dinner time. Hello, Fang. He's going to be pestering us for food until we feed him. So we better crack on, huh? Oh, Ross has come to rescue the cat. First of all, we have got The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first in the Stormlight archives. This is a particularly lovely edition. This is a US first edition paperback. Smells so good, guys. For those of you that are not aware of the Stormlight archives, this is an incredibly innovative fantasy series by the master himself, Brandon Sanderson. I very nearly included Mistborn in this list as well, but I decided that I was just going to do one of the Sanderson series, and I went for Stormlight. The magic system in the Stormlight Archive is really innovative, and that's one of the reasons that I love it so much. The magic users draw their power from the storm power, Stormlight itself, which they have trapped in spheres, which is also their form of currency. And the spheres contain little chips of gemstones, which are then infused with the light from the storm. I just think it's a really, really clever magic system. It's a very compelling tale. The main point of view characters, Kaladin, Shallan, Dalinar, they're all really rounded, nuanced characters. Like, what I hate is when there's obvious goodies and baddies. In this, everybody's a little bit good and everyone's a little bit bad, even the real baddies. Absolutely love. Highly recommend if you haven't already read the Stormlight Archive, give it a read. Number 2 on this list is Magician by Raymond E. Feist. Now, this is classic 80s fantasy. Smells so good. Just look at it. Isn't that gorgeous? The illustrations are just beautiful along the spine, even onto the back. We're talking orphan boys who find out that they're magicians and apprentice to the greatest magician in the land. We love it. It's chaos. It's wonderful. Highly recommend. Magician, number 1 of the Rift War saga by Raymond E. Feist. Next up, this is a really battered old paperback, and the reason that this is so battered is because it lived in my handbag for about 6 months when I read this book and then immediately reread this book, and then I took it to a signing. I read it in the bath, which is why it's all wavy, wibbly, wobbly, and then took it to a signing and got the man himself to sign it for me. So even though this is absolutely mashed, completely contorted, I will never part with it. And this is my copy of Rivers of London by Ben Aaronovitch. This is about as far as you can get from Magician by Raymond E. Feist. This is a modern day fantasy set in a contemporary London, and it follows a police officer called Peter Grant who investigates supernatural occurrences and keeps the magic users of London and the surrounding areas in check. I suppose this book holds special significance for me, being from South London, and one of the characters, who is a demigod of the River Thames, is named Beverly Brook, which is a tributary of the River Thames, which ran through my grandma's garden when I was a kid, and I used to go swimming in it and paddle. And when I went to the signing with Ben, I told him that story, and he said, "Oh, you must have known Beverly very well then." And I went, "Yes, I did." It's fantastic. It's really, really engaging. The characters are superb. There are werewolves, there are vampires, there are ghosts, there are magicians, there are all sorts of, like, all the good stuff. I highly recommend. If you like Jim Butcher and the Dresden Files, you will love this. Similarly, another modern day fantasy is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. Again, this is set in a contemporary United Kingdom and follows the demon Crowley and the angel Aziraphale as they try to prevent the Antichrist from bringing about Armageddon. Ross and I often refer to ourselves as Crowley and Aziraphale. I'm Crowley, he's Aziraphale, obviously. It's just so good. I actually listened to the audiobook of this before I read it. I can highly recommend that. The performance, I forget who the audiobook was narrated by, but it was the first one that came up on Audible. It was really good.
You can get one with the cast from the Amazon show now as well.
Yeah, there you go. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
With David Tennant.
Well, Davey T.
Oh, wow. Anyway, yeah. Highly recommend. I've actually always struggled with Pratchett on his own. I've never managed to finish a Discworld novel, much to Ross's chagrin, but I loved Good Omens, and I don't know if that's because of the Neil Gaiman influence, but yeah, absolutely loved. Highly recommend. Moving on, this is one that you might not have heard of. It's certainly less well known than some of the others on this list, and that is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. The reason that I love this book and this series so much, again, is similarly to with the Stormlight Archive, is the magic system is so innovative in this book. The magic users in the Lightbringer series draw their power from the light and from the colours of the light spectrum. So you have orange drafters, you have blue drafters, you have ultraviolet, and then there are very few individuals who can draft more than one colour of the spectrum, and then only one per generation who can draft all of the colours of the spectrum, the Prism. The story of this book follows a young man who discovers that he is the son of the Prism. It's not a spoiler because it comes in like the first chapter. And he goes to his father and receives training and all that good stuff. It is so good, and the magic system is so clever. I'd never seen anything like it. Highly recommend. And then finally, this I tried to sneak into Ross's top 10 when he did his, and he thwarted me. So that is why I'm making this video. I need to talk to you about Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This book, I'm going to get deep. I first read this book when I was 22 years old, and my mum had just passed away from a brain tumour. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the Realm of the Elderling series, which this is the first of, got me through that period in a way that I don't think I would have got through it without. It is so engrossing. It is pure escapism. The characters are so well rounded. Even the protagonist, Fitz, he's got his flaws. It's just got so many shades of grey. It's a complex, character-driven, beautiful book with incredible world building. The plot is slower than some others on this list, and I have heard Robin criticised for that. But if you want to really get lost in a world, if you're going through some stuff like I was at that point, I can't recommend Assassin's Apprentice highly enough. That is my emotional plea to you all. Read Assassin's Apprentice and the Realm of the Elderlings. It is stupendously good. Thus concludes my top 6 fantasy books of all time. There were others that I could have included. I mentioned I could have included Mistborn. I could have included the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. I didn't because Ross already mentioned it. I could have mentioned A Wizard of Earthsea.
I took all the good ones.
No, you didn't. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Normal service will probably resume. You'll probably get Ross back following this.
Wait, no, I gotta do it.
Okay.
Remember to like and subscribe because it really helps us out. And go buy a book and follow us on Instagram.
Yes, we have our very own shop So if you're into beautiful old editions of books like we are, head to hardysbooks.co.uk, where we have a number of beautiful, rare, signed, special edition books for you to peruse and potentially buy, maybe as a Christmas present for someone you love. We are, can you hear the cat screaming for his dinner? We are on Instagram at Hardy's Books, and we just got a TikTok. Yes.
So why not follow us on TikTok?
We're in our 30s. Yeah. Bye.